Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the December 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Smithfield Town Council to order. If you'd please stand and join me with for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be co-led by Councilman Randy Pack and Councilman Ray Gibbs. Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Town Council meeting. Good to have you here this evening. First item is the informational section. Mr. Stallings.
Yes, sir. Included in your packet is the monthly activity report and committee summary reports. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions of members of council for Mr. Stallings? Thank you, Michael. The next I have is presentations. We're going to flip the order of those. The first one will be item B, recognition of Sergeant Alan Lester as this year's top cop. Chief Howell, Sergeant Lester.
Mr. Mayor and members of council and citizens alike, as I stand before you all this afternoon, it is with great pleasure to present Sergeant Alan Lester as Smithfield's top cop for 2024. And I will read you what Sergeant Lester did in order to receive that award. And it reads as follows. On June 9th, Sergeant Alan Lester demonstrated exceptional courage and quick thinking when he responded to a serious motorcycle crash while off duty. Upon his arrival, he observed another citizen had stopped to render medical aid. That citizen happened to be an experienced emergency room care provider, and she had applied a makeshift tourniquet using bungee cords in order to stop the bleeding. Sergeant Lester realized that the makeshift tourniquet, they were not working to stop the arterial bleed, so he returned to his patrol car to gather additional medical supplies. He then applied a cat tourniquet, which he had in his patrol car, effectively stopping the bleeding, and it was determined that the quick action of Sergeant Alan Lester and the effective application of the tourniquet saved the motorcyclist's life. And I would just like to add again that this was while Sergeant Lester was off duty. So this is Sergeant Lester's second award. He was our recipient in 2022, and he is once again our Greater Hampton Roads top cop for the town of Smithfield. So it is my pleasure to present to the council and the citizens Sergeant Alan Lester.
Chief, thank you very much. Sergeant, Chief, you're true credit to the department, true credit to the town. We really appreciate your dedication, your service, and your fast thinking that day. Not for you, someone probably would not be here. So thank you very much. Keep up the good work, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you all.
The next item we have is the presentation of the Certified Crime Prevention Community Award. To Chief Howell or Sergeant McGow? Or whom? Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're doing fine. Could you please state your name for the record, who you represent, please?
Yep. I am Tina Sumter from the Department of Criminal Justice Services. I am honored this evening to be before you to present the Smithfield Police Department with the certification. But before I present the certificate, let me give you a brief history on the Certified Crime Prevention Communities Program. The Certified Crime Prevention Communities Program was developed by the Department of Criminal Justice Services and approved by the Commission in 1998 Executive Order, where Governor Gilmore charged the Commission with the responsibility of advising him on new initiatives to promote community safety, particularly youth and family safety. The Commission asked Department of Criminal Justice Services to recommend programs that foster the development of community initiatives at the local levels. From the 1993 Crime Commission study, Certified Crime Prevention Communities Program was designed and approved. Out of all the communities throughout Virginia, the town of Smithfield is one of 12 communities that is certified. To obtain certification, the Smithfield Police Department submitted application for recertification. They had to meet 19 community safety elements. This includes 12 core elements and 7 optional safety elements. This isn't an easy task and takes tremendous amount of dedication, not only from the Smithfield Police Department, but from your whole community. This is an accomplishment that the police department and your community should be very proud of. Throughout the review, it became clear that the success of the town of Smithfield's prevention efforts is due to 3 factors. These factors are community interactions, the dedication of the Smithfield Police Department personnel, not only to their police department, but to the whole community. Program development and finding ways to bridge identified gaps throughout the community during the COVID pandemic. And as everybody knows, that was difficult at times. The Town of Smithfield application highlights continued growth, innovation, and finding ways to bridge these gaps. On October 10, 2024, Smithfield Police Department Certified Crime Prevention Committee's application for recertification was presented to the Criminal Justice Service Board and approved for recertification. On behalf of Secretary of Public Safety Terry Cole and Director of Department of Criminal Justice Services Jackson Miller, I would like to present Smithfield Police Department with their certificate for the Certified Crime Prevention Committees program. I would like to thank you, the Town Council, and Chief Howe, for your dedication to the Town of Smithfield. And special thanks to Sergeant McGow for all his hard work. Congratulations.
We're extremely proud of this accomplishment. I think you would agree that it really requires a lot of work and a lot of dedication by both the police department and the community. As I recall, we were first certified around 2014, thereabout, or 13, and at that time there were 8 certified communities in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now there are 12. So if that doesn't tell you how much work goes into achieving this award across the Commonwealth with much larger departments and personnel assigned to that, it's a significant accomplishment. And it's one that I can assure you that we're all proud of. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Sergeant. The next item we have is going back to item A, is a presentation from Western Tidewater Free Clinic by Tim Palmer. Mr. Palmer, good evening, sir. Good to have you here.
Good evening.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council members, and town staff. My name's Timothy Palmer, and I serve as the chair of the board of Western Tidewater Free Clinic. On behalf of the patients and the clinic, I want to express our genuine gratitude for your recent support and investment in the clinic this year. I'd just like to give you a little brief update on our work at the clinic. For the 24-25 fiscal year, your funding of $15,809 will enable us to provide comprehensive care for about 11 residents of the town of Smithfield over the course of a year. This is through about 100 visits that we anticipate. Your support is crucial in allowing us to continue serving our high-risk patients, helping them avoid the need to seek care from local emergency rooms. Remarkably, for every dollar you donate, your investment translates into about 3 times the money and services that we provide. This is a good investment, a good return on your investment. For the first 6 months of the year of 2024 through June 30th, we assisted 32 residents of the town of Smithfield through 164 visits, averaging about 5 visits per patient. This just through 6 months. This represents about 2% of our total patient population at the clinic. Additionally, town of Smithfield residents have benefited from free medications worth about $25,000, and the value of our health care we provide has been about $25,000 also. This is just through 6 months of the year. Since our doors have opened, we've helped about 7,700 unique patients, providing more than 219,000 medical, dental, and mental health and eligibility visits. as well as pharmacy consultations. In total, since the clinic opened, more than 312,000 free medications with a retail value exceeding $59 million. As many of you are aware, our patients face significant health challenges with multiple chronic conditions. Establishing a health home for them ensures they receive consistent care and support they urgently need to provide and improve their quality of life. This level of care would not be feasible without your support. For instance, patients like Wendy would be facing life-threatening health issues if not for your support. Wendy is a 64-year-old woman. She came to our clinic feeling lost and overwhelmed by complex medication regimen. She had been struggling with anxiety and depression for many years and felt neglected by her previous health care providers. Her health had declined to the point where she could no longer work. She had to basically retire and move in with her son for help. She consulted with our medical director, Stephen Greer, and our other mental health professionals we have, and she just experienced a remarkable change. For the first time, she truly felt heard by the medical providers and the team, and with our support, she successfully reduced her medications to just 7, with only 3 aimed at her mental health needs. Since her time at the clinic, she's experienced clarity and improvements in her well-being, and this is a quote from Wendy: "Finding this place has been a blessing. It feels like home, and I haven't felt this good in years. I hold on to the hope that the progress I've made will last thanks to the supportive team at the Western Tidewater Free Clinic. But the financial backing from the town of Smithfield and the rest of our community enables us to keep serving those in dire need within our 2,200 square mile service area. We're deeply appreciative for your commitment. Your support helps us provide a health care home for many patients. And again, these are the folks that really need it the most. These are the folks that do not have the health care most of the rest of us have. I just want to thank you very sincerely for your investment in the Western Tidewater Free Clinic. Invite any of you to come visit our clinic. We've had a recent expansion, and it's a remarkable place, especially for our new dental care that we're providing. But your support is just greatly appreciated, and just want to personally thank you. Any questions you might have about the clinic?
Any questions of Mr. Palmer, the clinic? Mr. Palmer, we'd like to thank you and your personnel dedicated to what they do. It's not easy. I fully understand that. And the work that you do based on the investment that's there certainly does make an impact on the community, and we're very, very grateful for that. So thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, man.
Next item on the agenda is public comments. This is the time to speak on matters that are not on the agenda. It's 5 minutes per speaker. Mr. Palmer just spoke. The first individual I have is Mr. Russ McConnell. Mr. McConnell? Good evening, sir.
Well, good evening to you, sir. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to request a follow-up on the issues facing Cypress Creek Owners Association. My name is Russ McConnell, and I'm the Vice President of the association. You will be aware that I attended the September 3rd Town Council meeting and outlined to all of you the fact that the developer of the final stages in Cypress Creek, Cypress Investment Holdings, a subsidiary of the Robinson Development Group, reduced by half the number of amenities that they would provide in the conceptual plan, that they said they were going to provide in the conceptual plan when they submitted the site plan, and that they have refused so far to complete all the amenities that are in the actual approved site plan. The town leadership expressed that this was the first they had heard about it, and that they would look into it with a view to assisting us in getting the developer to produce the things he had promised. The mayor asked the town manager to investigate and provide a report on what the investigation found out. I'm here tonight to find out the results of the investigation and what report, if any, was produced. I will add that the HOA nor a lawyer has heard from the developer since 28 August 2024. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I look forward to finding out what the results were.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Mr. Riddick?
I'd be happy to address that.
Thank you.
I met with Mr. McConnell, and well, first of all, after he appeared here in September,
The town manager, Ms. Clary, and I called Mr. Culpepper, who's the developer, and we met with him in my office and explained to him that we were concerned about the issues that were raised by the HOA. And he, at that time, he acknowledged that, that the amenities, some of them, had not been included, in particular the bocce ball courts and some barbecues. There's an issue about a cabana, and but they explained that there were a lot of other issues that they had with respect to matters raised by the HOA. And so he gave us a commitment that he would resolve this. We told him that we were concerned about this because it might be a violation of his zoning, but that's a question that remains undetermined. Nevertheless, he said he would fix that. That Mr. McConnell and their attorney, Ms.
Sarah
Palomera and Jim Collins and
Jim Parks and Jim
Mr.
Collins.
Parks
Yes,
back
sir.
here, they came and met with me several weeks ago, and they said that they had not had any contact from Mr. Culpepper, nor their attorney. So I called him once again, and he said that, in fact, on the date that I spoke with him, they had poured some asphalt and some concrete. Now, some of these items don't have anything to do with the amenities, but he explained to me that they have a long simmering dispute with respect to several matters. The homeowners association has refused to accept the deed to the pool and recreation, and so that's one of the conditions that Mr. Culpepper is not out of this deal until the HOA accepts the deed, and they're represented by counsel and have been advised not to accept that deed, and so those issues remain unresolved. Mr. Culpepper advised that once he described it as a punch list, and I expect that it's more than that, but he said once that he had completed all of the items that he was required to do on the punch list, and I don't know the scope of that work, that he intended to meet with them and resolve everything at one time. He said it was not his intention to do this on a piecemeal basis, and that he again assured me that this would not be a problem for the town, that it would be resolved by the HOA. We have gotten into the middle of something that I don't know that we're entirely, it's entirely appropriate for us to be in the middle of, but we've done, the staff and I have done all we can do at this point. The man has given us this commitment that says he's going to do this. I guess at some point, if he does nothing, then we'll have to determine if the town can take any action with respect to the zoning. We do have a bond. I think it's about $600,000. It's not that much. We know bond. We have a defect bond, but in other words, the matter's not resolved yet, and unless we're in a position to start bringing litigation, and I don't think we can do that at this point, I don't know that there's a lot more that the town can really do about this. He's given us a commitment that he's going to fix this. They're represented by legal counsel. They've, if they want to, I'm happy to discuss that matter with her, but if you tell me that you want me to revoke their, take action on their zoning, I'm not so sure that we have the ability to do that. There's one issue on that site plan. The bocce ball courts and the barbecues are clearly identified by language that says that's what they are. The cabana is not, but the site plan shows that the cabana was approved as part of, they never built it. So there's an issue. Once again, they've been advised not to accept the deed to the premises until such time as all that's been done. And I think that was very wise advice, because they have the developer in they have some leverage with him until they don't accept the deed until he's resolved the issues. So that's the status of everything. I don't have an update since that. I reported that to Ms. Palomera and to Mr. Collins and Ms. Roundtree. They asked me on the day of your HOA meeting what the status was, and I gave that same report to those people, and they were supposed to report that back to your HOA meeting.
Am I allowed to say something?
Oh, sure, absolutely, love to.
there's a couple of,
He said, she said?
no, there's a couple of misconceptions about what is going on.
Okay.
The town lawyer just said that the cabana is not identified in the site plan. That is absolutely false. The cabana is identified in the site plan. The key thing from our perspective, there's two different issues. HOAs work on some HOA issues. I'm here to talk about the issues that I consider are the town issues.
Okay, and we're here to listen to those.
Well,
Sure.
the town issues is that the town approved a site plan for the developer to build. And in that site plan, the biggest item is that cabana at the pool. And it's in the site plan, sir. And he just refuses to do it. He says, I'm not going to do it. So that is a contract between the developer and the town. And so I don't understand, you know, the HOA has no, we don't own a bond. We have no contractual
Sure.
relationship with the developer. The town does. That's why I'm here.
Sure, I understand where you're coming from. I think, though, we're in a situation that once you have council here, council there, and then we're kind of caught between,
Well,
anyway, no, I'm not deflecting it. Bill, if we, yeah, it looked like you had something.
I didn't say, I said that the cabana is not identified on the exhibit that was part of the zoning. It was identified on the site plan, and it was approved on the site plan. But he chose not to build it. We don't, therein lies the issue, is do we have any authority to make him build it? They've chosen to not accept the deed, and that's their leverage at this point. And he can't finalize, the developer, cannot finalize his obligations with respect to that property until they are willing to accept the recreational facilities. So they're at loggerheads right now. Mr. Culpepper told me that, and it's his word, and whether he abides by it or not, he said, I fully intend to resolve all of my issues, not just the ones that involve the town, but all of them at one time. He says, I'm not going to do this piecemeal. I'm going to, once I'm in a position, Mr. Culpepper, to state that I've resolved all of these issues, I will resolve everything in a meeting with the HOA. I can't tell you when that's going to be, but that's what he told me that he would do.
Is it possible to contact Mr. Culpepper and ask him to put that in writing?
I will.
Can you do that and have it sent to both the HOA and also to their council so that we can be straight up as to what's going on? To me, that seems at least the next logical step. I mean, I'd like to take the magic wand and fix it right now, but I've seen these type of things before, and if he would communicate, and sometimes lack of communication causes more problems than the problem at hand, no doubt about that. So if you could do that, that's a start. We will do that, and then if you would, just do some more research as to where we actually stand.
I don't know that we can revoke the zoning because there are lots of people who live in those houses out there, and I don't know that that's a very good solution because that causes lots of problems for a lot of people that extend far beyond the issue of the HOA and the recreational facility. But there may be some things we can do. Once again, they have a lawyer who specializes in HOAs. I'm not sure she is a litigator. I don't know that for a fact. But, you know, at some point they have an issue that they probably need to get legal counsel on. I can't be their legal counsel.
Right.
I represent the town of Smithfield, not the HOA. We're trying to the extent that we have an ability to take action on this, we're trying to resolve that.
Well, if you can contact Mr. Culpepper and tell him that this is causing a little problem, and council's involved in it now, and
I will.
we would like to have this matter taken care of.
I will.
And you communicate, and if he has any questions, I'll be glad to meet with him as well, so that we can get this straightened out. But
Yes, sir.
we'll work to get it straightened out the best we possibly can with the remedies we have at our avail. That sounds like a bunch of speakeasies, but that's about the best I can do at this juncture. But we will work.
Thank you for the feedback, sir.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Michelle Goodman? Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you for giving us time for public comments. I have been recently reading negativity on social media about the Mistletoe Market and the impending traffic and the problems with the bridge being closed and things like that. Excuse me. And I just wanted to take this time to publicly disagree with those comments and give you some perspective from 3 different areas. One, I organized the Windsor Farmers Market several years ago, and so I understand what it takes to build a market, and the vendors need you to bring them customers, and the customers need you to have vendors in order for them to come out. And it's incredibly difficult. And I'd like to give some big shout out kudos to tourism for the work that they've put into that Mistletoe Market to make it what it is. The one market that they come to with all the people that come to that event could make their entire year. It could be all the sales that they need to get through the months that there aren't farmers markets and there aren't things like that. Farmers markets and markets such as that are incubators for small businesses. It gets them the opportunity to see what sells and what doesn't and how they can run their business to take advantage of the things that are selling and how to produce them. So I'm a huge supporter of farmers markets and markets of that nature, and I think tourism did a great job marketing and getting people out and getting great vendors, and so I'd like to give them a shout out for that. My other perspective is from a small business owner on Main Street. My husband and I own the Fiddlin' Pig Pub, which has only been open for a few months, but we had an amazing, record-breaking day, steady stream of people coming in from outside. They get to see what Smithfield has to offer. They spend their money. I know it's peanuts, but the $750 in meals tax from that one day alone that we will put in the coffers of the town of Smithfield, it is significant if you put it with all the other businesses that profited from it. We employ all local employees. It's from high school kids up to mothers and fathers, and we paid $2,000 in wages that day because we were fully staffed to support the people that were coming in. So it's great for the small businesses, not only on Main Street, but the traffic that it brings in. If they don't spend money that day because they're at the market and there's food available and the things that they're shopping for, they see what Smithfield has to offer and they come back on another day. So I think that is another reason that the Mistletoe Market was successful. Kudos to the police and public works in the town of Smithfield for handling the magnitude of people that were in here on that one day. It's not like a grand illumination parade or a peanut fest parade or anything like that where everybody comes at once and they leave at the same time. It's throughout the day, 3 to 8 I think was the hours. Anytime you go to those events or you go to a concert, you expect to sit in traffic. So I don't think that complaining about the traffic is a productive thing to do. You don't think that you're going to go to something and not have those problems, but I thought it was very well handled. Yes, the bridge is closed and it's causing some grief, but it causes grief on the daily basis. And on that day with that magnitude of people, I didn't think that it was significant. In fact, I had to go out and buy some things that we ran out of because we were so busy. And I left, it took me 20 minutes to get from Church and Main to Highway 10. 20 minutes, no big deal. I was sitting in traffic. I was patient. I expected there to be a lot of people. I went to Kroger and Food Line, came back up Church. I parked right here at the Smithfield Center parking lot, right at the corner. There was parking available. The traffic was not horrendous if you're patient and considerate of others. And then my third perspective is just as an Isle of Wight County resident. I don't live in the town, but I live just outside of the town. And I'm proud as can be to live in a town that is a hallmark representative of Christmas time with tree lightings and the Mistletoe Market and a small town parade. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
1 minute.
Pardon? 1 minute. I wouldn't want to live. I'm on the last topic.
Perfect timing.
I wouldn't want to live anywhere else that doesn't have this small town charm. But I also know that outsiders that come in for these things inject a lot of money into the economy, and they see what Smithfield has to offer, and they come back on other weekends, and they come back to our pub and to the other businesses that are in downtown. So that is my perspective. I just wanted to give a positive spin on that day and tell everyone involved that they did a great job, and I'm proud to be a business owner in Smithfield.
Thank you, Ms. Goodman, for your comments. We appreciate it. And wish you continued success on your business enterprise for sure. Brian Becker. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm here as a small business owner. My name is Brian Becker. I live in the Moonfield neighborhood back in Smithfield. I've been there for 25 years. In preparations for my retirement from Dominion Energy, I've started a small business, small laser cutting, laser engraving, making home decor type of things. I've been doing that for about 3.5 years now. And I've been doing that with my wife, and we offer various things to the community. I've had an incredible privilege of growing and maintaining the small business, and thanks in large part to the support of the tourism and both the Smithfield Farmers Market as well as like the vintage markets and mistletoe markets. This has been more than just a place to smell my to sell my products. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. It's the cornerstone of my business success. This market has given me the platform to connect with the community, showcase my products, and the sense of community here is unparalleled, and it's that community spirit that has helped my business thrive. I've had the opportunity to serve several local businesses, small businesses, Hall Electrical Contracting, Virginia Cabinet Company, also the contractor that's building the Riverside Smithfield Hospital, among others. The mutual support system strengthens our local economy and fosters a sense of collaboration among the small business owners in this community. Relationships I've built here in the Smithfield Farmers Market are truly invaluable. In addition to selling at Smithfield Market, I also tend to other markets in the region. With that, I make it a point to advertise and encourage people to visit our market here in Smithfield. I believe in the value we have here, and I want to share that with as many people as possible. The variety of vendors, the quality of products, and the welcoming atmosphere make it a must-visit destination for anyone interested in supporting local businesses. With this, I'm looking for the support of a permanent structure. I know we're talking about, I believe it's called Grange on 10. And having that ability to be in a permanent structure will, to bring a quote from a movie, if you build it, they will come. If we have that permanent structure, we'll have the ability of for electrical, for heating and ventilation and cooling. This past summer has been brutal on the market, and I saw it in my sales this summer too. And just having that, even on a rain event, the possibility of a cancellation of a market and that affecting our small businesses. The variety of vendors and quality products and welcoming atmosphere, I'm sorry, did I say that already? Make it a must-visit destination for anyone interested in supporting local business. I also wanted to highlight the fact that the mistletoe market, I heard the issues with regards to the traffic. I hope we endeavor to finish the bridge project. I think that was an impact to the traffic. Being a Dominion Energy employee, this happens to coincide with the relief time from people going to and leaving Surrey, so that just on a normal day, we probably have about a half-hour wait at the Route 10 going through the traffic light. So that's just something to consider with regards to future planning on what we do for parking, for transportation, and the traffic issues that we're having there.
1 minute.
I'm done. That's all I have. I just thank you for this opportunity, and I thank the tourism group for all their support for us small businesses.
Thank you. Mr. Becker, to your point, as far as the planning is concerned, traffic and things, we have the Christmas parade coming up. Had the entire town staff, from tourism to police department to just a myriad of all of the people that will be involved in managing that. Town manager was there. We're working to take into consideration some of the issues that we're confronted with during the mistletoe market, and learn from them and maybe make some adjustments as far, but which we'll be announcing. But to your point, it did not go unnoticed. I just want to let you know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
The last thing I want to mention, I had my highest sales ever on that mistletoe market. I almost tripled my sales from any previous 3.5 years.
Congratulations.
So,
Thank you. Yes, sir. Judy Ure. Ms. Judy Ure. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. My daughter and I are vendors at the Smithfield Farmers Market, so I'd like to speak on behalf of the Farmers Market. We were also vendors at the Mistletoe Market and had a fantastic day, our best day of the year. We can count on that every year at the Mistletoe Market. We have been vendors at the Farmers Market for 11 years. I have been on the board of the Farmers Market for the last 5 or 6 years. And I just want to tell you, we have a fantastic farmers market, but I believe we have the potential to be so much more than we are now. And I really am asking for your support for the project that would give us a permanent home. We are in the bank parking lot, which is a good location, but it's not ideal. It's not permanent for us. We don't own that property. We had a little hiccup a couple of years ago where we didn't know if we could continue there or not. So because we're on, have an agreement with the bank, but we don't have a long-term agreement with the bank. So we don't know that we can be there indefinitely. There are some concerns with the bank parking lot. One is the lack of parking is hard if we have a busy day. We have public restrooms, which we're very grateful for, but they're not right there. They're a little bit of a walk. But the biggest problem, as Brian mentioned, has been the heat this summer. We're on a black asphalt parking lot in the broiling hot sun with no shade, and we've had some brutally hot days. And it's really worse for the customers than it is for the vendors, because we at least have our tents and we can position ourselves in the shade a little bit, maybe have a battery fan to cool us a little bit. The customers are just walking around in the broiling sun. And they don't really shop a lot when the heat index is 115. And we've seen it in our sales. We've had some really slow days out there because of the heat. And that impacts the long-term viability for the market, because the vendors pay a percentage of our sales every week. And that's what the market runs on. So if our sales are down, the revenue for the market is down, and that has an impact on the future long-term plans for the market. A permanent location would give us so much more flexibility. We wouldn't be locked into 3 hours on Saturday mornings. We could have a lot more flexibility to plan more events. I think the location down there at the intersection of 258 and Route 10 would be highly visible, lots of traffic through there. That's a plus if you're trying to bring people in, to have something there that's inviting people, want to stop and check it out. Every week I talk to people who did not know we were in the bank parking lot. They happen to be in Smithfield for some other reason, and like, do you do this every week? We didn't know you were here. So we're tucked back there behind the bank, and if you're right here, you know we're there, but if you're just passing by, you don't see us. So I really think we could be so much more than we are now with a permanent home in a highly visible location. Some shelter from the burning sun would be nice. Maybe a ceiling fan or two. I'm not asking for a whole lot, but I just want to really ask for your support for the relocation and the permanent structure for the market.
Thank you, Ms. Ure.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Lee Abbott, Lehman. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm going to try and raise Bill's timer. I'd like to express my heartfelt disappointment at the recent town council election, not at the outcome, at the election itself. The tone, the fact that a town of roughly 9,000 people has a PAC, the divisive and invasive nature of some of the social media comments in particular, were just ludicrous, in a word. To Mike and to Bill, Eric and I hope you've spoken with your supporters who actively campaigned on your behalf on social media, and it mentioned that posting people's Zillow home values, their assessed tax values, and at times their home addresses is a little bit beyond the norm for a tactic, even if that information is public record. Would you want your home's ownership and tax records posted up online? Worse yet, would you want a picture of your driveway and front door taken from someone's cell phone pic posted up on Nextdoor? Simply because you questioned someone who was posting. I had the good fortune of having a comment removed by the person I argued with. There's another town resident who didn't have that good fortune, and I think that crosses a line. These people are supporting you and your PAC, and that's what, and the PAC, and that's why I'm specifically asking you as a resident for that to be addressed. They weren't Gray Street residents, I would mention, but they were people that were vocally posting for downtown, and to an extent, that reflects on all of us downtown as downtown residents. As we seek to move forward, I think this is something that we really need to address as a town. To Jim and to Ray, I say thank you for serving on council. It wasn't on your dance card before 2023, probably. You may have subsequently campaigned for those slots, but you wedged this into your lives when you were asked. I haven't agreed with every vote you've made, but that doesn't mean that I'm not grateful as a resident that you voluntarily took on an expanded role when asked, knowing how much I hemmed and hawed when asked to be on BIHAR. And that's just like a small, small fraction of the work. Jeff, many of the supporters were and most likely will be your supporters going forward. So I ask too, as a downtown resident, that you speak with some people regarding the tone and the appropriateness of what they're putting up online. The accuracy will forever be up to argument and debate, but we can control the fact that words matter. We are a small town. We've heard wonderful things from the market vendors. Do we really want our persona internally to be so just crazy at points? To Randy, the same as to Jim and Ray, I might not be in 100% agreement with all of your votes and your voting record, but the ongoing incorrect characterization of work that you've done in town and for the town, particularly for SVAE, as someone who has worked in that organization myself, I just find beyond. Thank you for your time that you've put into supporting our town. Lastly, to Stephen DeValerie, to you I also say thank you. Part of the social media chatter that I've mentioned referred to, quote, the good guys, and quote, the A-team. To vote for the good guys, to vote for the A-team. They were some of these aforementioned supporters. These were phrases that were repeated over and over again. But again, words matter, and the implication when you're saying to vote for the good guys, to vote for the A-team, is that the others are the bad guys and the B-team. You and your families contribute in so many meaningful ways in this town, and if people aren't sure what I'm talking about, then they should stop Zillowing people's home values and actually look into what your families do and how they contribute, and then be thankful. I can assure you that Eric and I consider you as far from a B team as possible, and we are grateful to all of you for the time you put into supporting the town. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. David Hunley.
Town Council.
Good evening, sir.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People were written by Stephen Covey, an American educator, author, businessman, and speaker, once said, quote, "An empowered organization is one which individuals have the knowledge, skill, desire, and opportunity to personally succeed in a way that leads to collective organizational success." I feel this quote exemplifies Smithfield and Isle of Wight Tourism and Visitor Center. As director of the 1750 Isle of Wight County Courthouse, we have had the opportunity to work very closely with tourism. Our mission is to enhance the 1750 Isle of Wight County Courthouse and its remarkable role in the American experience. Our close working relationship with tourism helps us to accomplish that mission. Recently, we hosted the Mistletoe Market Cocktail Garden, which we have done for the last couple of years for the organizers of the market. We had 1,643 visitors to enter the courthouse. And yes, we realize our visitors were there for one reason only, and I will tell you it was not for a history lesson. However, it did give us an opportunity to enhance our historic treasure by capturing a few ears that were interested in this unique and fascinating building and its story. If it were not for collaboration, cooperation, and communication with tourism, the story of the 1750 courthouse would not have been shared with the masses on the night of the Mistletoe Market. We certainly understand the magnitude and interest of the Mistletoe Market shown by those who attended and the challenges it created for our community. We have 5 organizational values at the courthouse: historic integrity, relevance for today and the future, inspiring appreciation for history and patriotism, learning and understanding, and community pride and engagement. It is events like the Mistletoe Market and other events tourism organizes that gives us at the 1750 Courthouse a chance to show our community pride and our willingness to be engaged in community activities, which in turn gives us the opportune time to share the story of the 1750 Isle of Wight County Courthouse. Thank you to the staff and volunteers at Smithfield and Isle of Wight Tourism and Visitors Center, for your hard work is very much appreciated in our community, and especially by the 1750 Courthouse. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hundley. Sabrina Dooley. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Sabrina Dooley, and I work for Smithfield and Isle of Wight County Tourism, and I am the Smithfield Farmers Market Manager. For the future of the Smithfield Farmers Market and its vendors to succeed, we desire a permanent home. The market is perpetually at risk of losing our current location at the Bank of Southside, Virginia, as that's where we are, at the bank's request, currently on a year-to-year lease renewal basis. Our market vendors are persistently at the mercy of Mother Nature, as weather is constantly disrupting our set market schedule on Saturday mornings. And as you know, we also operate April through December. Without a permanent structure, our vendors face a multitude of weather obstacles, such as precipitation, which can damage their product and deter customers from coming out, wind, a dangerous factor where we currently sit in a wind tunnel, heat, a dangerous factor where this year we have started to have cases of heat exhaustion from both customers and vendors, and we have unfortunately had to call out the rescue squad. As our vendors strive to earn their living every weekend, weather is truly our biggest obstacle, as our top priority is the safety of vendors and the public. We prioritize the time and effort our vendors put into their businesses, not only on Saturdays, the day of the market, but also the week leading up to the market. With a forecast of bad weather, we very strongly consider the time, the effort, and the money the vendors put into preparation, especially the farmers and the food vendors, prior to making a weather call for the event. The market is also in need of more electrical and water hookups. We have very limited access at our current location to satisfy vendor demands. Electricity and water hookups are essential for some vendors. The necessary utilities aid running registers, cooking food, keeping food at health department temperatures, using water for health department practices, or even keeping flowers from wilting on a very hot day. Our market has been operating since 2002 and has been an award-winning market for years. But to truly thrive and prosper, we require the necessary updates to accommodate our vendors, customers, and the community. A permanent structure would allow our market to flourish and support our small businesses for the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sean Gesh. If I pronounced that correctly. Shane. Okay.
It was the 70s.
Gotcha. I was there then, believe me.
You too.
Yes, ma'am. Good to have you here.
Good evening, members of the council and mayor. My name is Shane Getch, and I'm both a proud local business owner and property owner in our downtown community. I'm here tonight to voice my strong support for the continuation of the annual Mistletoe Market, an event that has become a cornerstone of our town's holiday traditions and the single biggest sales day for many Main Street businesses, including my own. I'm the owner of Perfectly Natural Soap out on Main Street. The Mistletoe Market is more than just a market. It brings life and charm to our downtown, evoking an old-time Christmas spirit that draws residents and visitors alike. The event significantly boosts local tourism and raises awareness of the unique offerings and character of our downtown area, benefiting not only businesses, but also the town's long-term economic vitality. While traffic concerns are understandable, we all heard them, I believe they are a manageable and temporary trade-off for the significant positive impact the market brings. We saw an additional 25% new customers that evening alone. That's people who have never shopped with us before that the market has brought in. We have a rate of about 60% on new customers that we turn into long-term customers. So those type of gains are really significant. The Mistletoe Market strengthens our sense of community, supports our local economy, and showcases the best of what our town has to offer. I urge you to continue your support for this event. I also own 2 businesses outside of Smithfield, same company, different locations. One is in downtown Williamsburg. You think, wow, that's the big time. It is nothing compared to the success we have seen in Smithfield. The events that they have are not supported by the community the way our community supports our small local businesses. And it's because of events like the Mistletoe Market, the Farmers Market, the Vintage Market, and all the work that tourism does that really makes the difference in that. And it's also pay to play there, because you don't just have tourism, you have to buy into it. So the value that this team brings to the town is just unbelievable and something I'm forever grateful for. I just want to make you aware.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your comments, and we appreciate them. Believe me, we know how well we do, because I think our number one visitor used to be, or the visitors used to be from Williamsburg. Judy, correct? But anyway, thank you for your comments, ma'am. Leah Walker?
Good evening. My name is Leah Walker. I reside at 303 Red Point Drive in Smithfield. I'm here for 2 items of appreciation. One, I know the town council has welcomed Bill Harris on to the town council, but from a citizen's perspective, I thought it would be important to welcome as well. I watched and learned from Bill in many years that he's been speaking respectfully and intelligently in front of this town council and the planning commission. And from my perspective, Bill will bring background and appreciation for historical preservation and good stewardship of government funds that is so appreciated. So thank you for choosing to serve. And secondly, I wanted to thank the town for recent decision-making. The county voted to transfer $1.4 million to the EDA last month towards moving the Smithfield Farmers Market to the Grange. This transfer of tax dollars, before it has been decided where the market will be located, without a firm business plan, without specific information on who would own the structure, be responsible for maintenance and operational cost of the structure after it is built, casts real concern on decision-making of county leadership and the makeup of the EDA. I appreciate that the town is waiting for additional discussion and information before committing $2.8 million, 1.4 from the county, 1.4 from the town, before moving to action on this question of the commitment of the 1.4 million, and also waiting for the seating of the new council members next month. And I just wanted to share that appreciation. Thank you.
Kristen Wilder?
Hello, I'm here tonight as a small business owner on Main Street. I'm very fortunate to also own that little historic property. Just want to once again give another round of applause to our tourism staff, and most especially to Connie for all she did to make the Mistletoe Market just a tremendous success. Obviously, none of us knew it was going to be what it would be, or we wouldn't have had the issues with the traffic. It was a crazy night. But from my perspective with my little business, it was a much needed boost for us. We've been struggling a little this year with the bridge, and I'm not going to complain about the bridge. I'll be really, really happy when it opens both ways.
And me both.
Yeah. But my sales are down. For the first 10 months of the year, my sales were down just a little over 10%, and we can live with that. But that we've never been down ever in the 7.5 years we've been open. We've increased every year. But that Mistletoe Market gave us just a much-needed boost, and we were really excited, and it was just a beautiful night, and it really celebrated who Smithfield is. And I just hope that you won't make any changes because of the issues and the naysayers about the traffic. I hope we'll just figure out the problems and fix them and let this wonderful event happen for many years to come. So that's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have signed up. Anyone else that did not sign up wish to be heard in public comments? Do you just not sign up on purpose and wait for the last minute?
I got here late. I didn't
Go ahead,
know
Bob. You're up.
Bob Hines, 216 Washington Street. It's no secret that I'm very concerned about the increased traffic and the density and all that sort of thing with the Pierceville project. However, as far as the traffic with the mistletoe, I've had the privilege in the past to go to a few pro football games in D.C. and baseball games in Baltimore, and you might have to walk a mile or mile and a half to get to the stadium, get to your seat, and get out on 95 afterward. You expect it. It's going to be there. You know it when you're coming. Now, some of this problem was exacerbated because of the bridge. It'll get better. So for anybody to think that people have to come here and step out of their car and walk 20 feet to get to something is just, that's unreasonable. People need to expect to walk something somewhere. I do have an idea, though. It may be crazy. I think I remember in the past one time we used school buses for shuttles for something. If there was shuttle service with school buses, it would cost money, and who would pay it, I don't know, over at Windsor Castle. And they came out, came to Cedar Street, went to Church Street, and circled back. It would be no crossing roads. It'd be all circles. People would be dropped off right there on Cedar Street, and it might alleviate it some, I don't know. I like the idea of the old packing plant, turn it into a parking lot. I think that would be nice. It would help some. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Always welcome, Mr. Hines. Thank you, sir. That's all I have. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Eunice Ortiz.
Please proceed.
My name is Eunice Ortiz, and I'm the owner of Aurora's Bakery. I live in 4443 Betty's Lane, Smithfield. I have been a resident of Smithfield for almost 2 years. Actually, the reason that we moved here, my husband is active duty United States Coast Guard, and we plan to stay here. We bought a home.
Great.
Here. So I'm going to speak about the funding of the proposal for the Smithfield Project Farmers Market. I basically started my bakery in the summer of 2023. Since then, I have been going to the Smithfield Farmers Market almost every Saturday. By the grace of God and of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, it's been a blessing not only to my family and me, but to the entire community here in Alawai County. Smithfield Farmers Market is actually the only market that we go to because we do really well there. Our business has grown tremendously this year, but we all face many challenges in the location we're in now. And one of them is the weather, such as the heat and the wind. Numerous vendors have already have already expressed their concerns, and I stand with them on the matter. Meanwhile, the preparation of our baked goods takes at least 3 days to make, which means that if there is a cancellation of the market due to the weather, that will have a significant impact in our business and also in all the farmers that we use, since everything, probably over 60% of the ingredients that we use, everything is local. So if we're not able to use the farmers to sell everything that we had that week, that also would impact all the local farmers that we use to have our baked goods. Also, I would like to add that I serve on the advisory board for the Smithfield Farmers Market. Last but not least, helping my community of local farmers and vendors is something I am very passionate about. Finally, having a structure where we can host everything we need will help vendors immensely. And I also think that will bring more vendors to the town, and it will also help the economy here very much. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Going once, going twice. Now's the time for council comments. Anyone on council have any comments they'd like to make?
I got some comments I'd like to make.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Good afternoon. I have some comments that I prepared before all the comments from the vendors. I also serve on the advisory board for the farmers market. I'm probably one of the newest, so I'm learning names and faces, but I will tell you, the few meetings that I have attended, these vendors that we have that participate in the farmers market are excited about what we have in Smithfield. They're loyal, they're dedicated. And I want you to know that I am elated to hear what you've had to say tonight. And when it comes to my participation in the discussion for the farmers market relocating, I will definitely take in consideration your comments tonight. Lee and Eric, I've been wondering where you all have been, but I want to congratulate Lee for being courageous and making those comments tonight, because that took a lot of courage. I think that there's a lot of negative stuff that's traveling around on social media. Those businesses that spoke up about the mistletoe event, I'm glad to hear the positive comments that you've said. But most importantly, I'm glad the mistletoe was able to give you the boost in your business that you needed. So thank you for that. So my prepared comments tonight is that this is our last town council meeting for 2024. And I'd like to thank you for allowing me to serve this past year. It's been a challenging year, yet a rewarding one at the same time. For me, it's been a time of developing and expanding relationships with town staff, emergency services staff, other agencies, and I don't want to leave out tourism. And even some of my colleagues I've had the opportunity to associate with outside of these four walls while serving alongside you, as well as also making decisions to move our town forward. Tonight, I'd like to officially welcome Bill to his first town council meeting. Even though I welcome you at the committee meeting, I'm looking forward to serving with you. Ray, thank you for accepting the appointment that we presented to you about a year ago. And thank you for serving on both town council and the planning commission. I'd like to wish you much success in whatever you decide to do. And you know why I'll miss you the most, so I expect to hear from you. Randy Pack, do I owe you an apology from our committee meeting last time?
Not hardly. Not hardly, no.
I want to thank you for your service in serving on both town council and planning. Thank you for befriending me during my time on town council. And here's wishing you and your family much success in your business endeavors. Being our last meeting of the year, I'd also like to thank you. The citizens have engaged with us during this past year, and I'm looking forward now, the fact that you are engaged, being engaged going forward. You have sat in our chambers month in and month out, listening and speaking out at public hearings and public comments like you did tonight. I'd like to wish you and your family happy holidays and a very prosperous new year. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Couldn't have said it better at all. Further council comments?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brooks.
Regarding the Mistletoe Market, it was a fantastic event all the way around. The negative comments, we all read them. I don't think were warranted. Fortunately, I did not have to deal with the traffic, but I do want to try to clear something up because it's my understanding the fatality accident that happened down off Foursquare Road pulled our state police resources during that event. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was on the phone at the time all of that was going on, trying to help out Chief and others, so I can speak to that as well.
Okay, so if their mission at that point was to help control traffic at the main intersection, which was the only exit really out of town, coupled with the bridge, we had the perfect storm. So I empathize with those folks that had to sit an hour from Church Street to get through the light. I know it happened because I was sitting there watching the traffic very slowly creep. It was an anomaly. That's not the norm. And I think we did the best we could. Could it be better? Sure. We wouldn't have a tragic accident and we wouldn't have a bridge closure. But hopefully we won't have those issues next year. So I just wanted to make those comments.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Anyone else? I'm going to follow up a little bit as far as tourism is concerned and as far as the farmers market is concerned and logistics and things like that. Some of you may be aware, to begin with, taking absolutely nothing from the farmers market or anything that was said as far as the need, as far as the value, as far as the service it provides. Wonderful people involved. It's just a great, great thing, a great, great attribute to the town of Smithfield. We do have a new council coming on board, and Leah may have taken some of my thunder, but at the same time, I want to explain to you, the townspeople, what's going on. I think the town spoke when they elected, whom they elected, pretty loudly, and indicated that they wanted a voice in the way certain things are done. In addition, on November 26th, Town Council received a letter from Mr. Joseph Luter IV. And it had a lot of things in it as far as logistics and plans and what he had in mind, what he hoped to achieve and such. One of the bullet points listed in the letter that I have here was, with the flow of the letters, communicated to Mike Smith, LSMP, which is the corporation that Mr. Luter has no interest in moving forward on this project without the support of Town Council. We will schedule a meeting with the new Town Council once they have been sworn in. To me, that indicates that Mr. Luter wants an opportunity to meet with the new Town Council, and the farmers market at the Grange is a significant part of that development. And I think it would be irresponsible, and also we use the term transparent all the time. It's getting to the point where it's like, that's the only word that I hear from time to time, as if we're not transparent, because I can't think of a time around here that we haven't been transparent. But at the same time, I believe that to appropriate, this council, as it sits, to appropriate $1.4 million right now to this project, which the future council may not agree is the right thing to do. Some of them have outwardly spoken against it. But at the same time, I think probably we could have the vote tonight. We probably could muster the votes. I don't know if we could or couldn't. But to do that, I think in a sense of fairness to those newly elected council members, and also to the town, and also to you, the members of tourism, for us to vote to allocate that, only to have it snatched away from you potentially later on, would be the wrong thing to do. So I'm only one voice. I can't make a motion. All I do is break ties. But after reading the letter from Mr. Luter and reading that bullet point, that's the only rational conclusion that I can come to as the right thing to do at the right time. I don't know if my fellow members agree with me or disagree with me, but I have anguished over this. I can tell you, not just the farmers market, the Grange development, and other things. I mean, it's just been, as Madam Vice Mayor said, it's been a good year, but it's also been a tough year between having to balance the needs and wants of certain sectors, having to deal with the bridge that's closed, and, you know, actually getting the blame at times for the bridge being closed. I don't know that, but anyway. But honestly, in all due respect, I do believe that this deserves, and I guess presume that Mr. Luter does too, that the new council deserves to weigh in on this matter. I can tell you right now, unless something changes, I'm going to support it. I think it's a good thing. I've always thought it's a good thing. And I believe everyone's comments today about the needs, the desires, and the appropriateness of having a permanent structure for a farmer's market is in line with what we need to do as a town. But anyway, that's my comment. That's all I have to say as far as that's concerned. I hope that you all will consider my comment, and floor is open for any further comment. But that's, in reading the letter, that's the conclusion that I come to. It is not in any way a reflection of, I don't believe that the farmer's market is warranted, or I just believe that based on the letter and what I read in it, that's the best path forward. And I thank you for allowing me to have the floor. Further comments from council members?
Just one, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Pack.
Tonight is my last town council meeting of 12 and a half years. I have thoroughly enjoyed being a part of this council and the councils prior. And I think the past 12 years have been pretty tough. We've had some certainly contentious stuff in front of us. I think the next 12 may be a little tougher. This community is growing, and there's a lot of difficult decisions that have to be made about what that growth looks like. So I wish nothing but the best for the future town council, nothing but wisdom, and I appreciate the time I've served here. Thank you for all the support from the community.
Further comments? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda item. Item C1, Mr. Pack.
Yes, sir. Item C1 is appropriation of funds to pay Alawite County per our water and sewer agreement between the town and county. This is not an ideal situation that we wound up in, but it is the best solution that we have found to a problem we did not anticipate about 10 years ago. But our first payment of $500,000 is what we are appropriating tonight, and we do recommend this to move forward.
Thank you, sir. Item C2, Madam Vice Mayor.
Amendment to proffers from Mallory Point. We had a pretty robust conversation in reference to the roundabout. I think originally when it was presented to us, or when it was proffered, they mentioned a two-lane roundabout. However, after looking at the traffic impact analysis, VDOT recommended a single lane. A single lane will be striped, but however, it will be built with the idea of if a two-lane roundabout is needed, it will be expanded. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the amended proffers from Mallory Point.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Item C3, Madam Vice Mayor, that's yours.
C3 is accepting a dedication of a plat of 17.458 acres from Mallory Point and retitling it to give it to the town of Smithfield.
Thank you, ma'am. Item C4, invoices over $20,000 requiring council authorization. Mr. Pack.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. We have 4 items tonight. The first is to the aforementioned Alawite County Water Agreement for $500,000. We have one for Mosca Designs, which were Christmas decorations that were needed, new decorations around town. We wore the joy off the last ones, $24,263.20. Wellington Estates, we had a curb replacement by Blair Brothers for $24,655. And then finally to the wonderful football concession building going up at Luther Sports. Athens building draw for $128,091.71. We do recommend approval of these invoices tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Pack. Any questions by members of council on the consent agenda items?
I do, Mr. Mayor.
Mr.
C3,
Smith.
could we pull C3 and discuss that?
Sure we can. Further questions, comments?
We're pulling C3.
Yes. For further discussion. If not, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve C1, C2, and C4 as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Pack. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Gibbs. Further discussion. Call to question, please, Madam Clerk. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yep, a little bit slow.
Yeah.
I either didn't hear it or didn't understand on the C2.
Okay. What was?
The motion in place is to allow a reversal of the original proffer.
Mr. Riddick?
No, it's to amend it.
It's an amendment of the proffers. The original design contemplated, or it mentioned a 2-lane roundabout, but when it came time to design it, VDOT and the engineers all said that that was an inappropriate design for that location. In fact, they don't really want a 2-lane proffer. 2-lane roundabout, because it's more accident prone. And so based on the engineer's recommendations and VDOT's recommendations, the developers asked that the proffer be amended so that they can construct the 1-lane roundabout. They're going to dedicate enough right-of-way that in the future, if a 2-lane is necessary, it could be built. But I'm not a traffic engineer. Maybe Tammy can speak to this because she knows it better than I.
Yes, the right-of-way would be dedicated if a future analysis deems that the expansion of the right-of-way is required. It also solidifies that the site plan approval and the acquisition of the right-of-way for that slip lane, it spells it out so that we're not going to approve a site plan for Phase E and F without them obtaining that right-of-way that's needed for that slip lane that will be constructed with E and F.
Further question?
Yeah, can I continue?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Again, just trying to follow first to Mr. Riddick's point. In the attachment, the remarks from Virginia Department of Transportation is that they recognized and understood what the developer had said. I didn't see anything in there that said, that they endorsed going from a 2 to a 1. So, can you help
That was
with
the
one?
presentation that was made.
During our conversation with VDOT, they approved these proffer amendments. They were on board with them.
And again, sorry for being the new guy. What does that mean that VDOT approved?
They accepted them. They didn't have any additional comments or any recommendations.
So am I correct to assume that they're suggesting that once the Nike Park Road is cut all the way through and the development continues past the intersection, there will be no increase in traffic that would demand a second lane?
If a future traffic analysis determines that a second lane is required, there will be enough right-of-way dedicated that it could be constructed.
By whom?
By the development that would trigger that additional need.
Okay. Again, just because I'm sitting here for the first time, is this a normal procedure to consider a series of proffers that were part of the approval process for an application, and then when a developer reevaluates that to his benefit, that we would back off the proffer?
So the actual traffic analysis, when they looked at the way that it was analyzed, it was only modeled as a single lane roundabout, which was sufficient for the development.
Right, and we wouldn't have brought this forward without VDOT's agreement that that's what they wanted constructed. And so they don't actually want a 2-lane roundabout constructed at this time until some future demand requires that. It would require 4 lanes on Nike Park and Battery Park feeding that to make that function, and those conditions don't exist. And based off existing analysis, they don't see a demand for that. If some other development comes in the future that increases that demand and those traffic analysis warrant it, then that development would be required to expand the roundabout. But the right-of-way would be provided at this time if that ever arises.
Yeah, I understand what all of you are saying, but it doesn't, from my standpoint, doesn't look very forward-looking with the idea that the development that is going to come, the increased traffic on Nike Park. It would seem that it would be to the town's benefit to go ahead and acknowledge and stick to the original proper, have the 2 lanes marked, as Mr. Pack mentioned, when we originally described, and stripe it to 1 lane, so that in the future we don't go through this again. We don't have to tear up and stop traffic and go through that. I'm just, throwing that out there. It just seems that was the agreement that the developer, I understand that you're saying that they've re-looked at the traffic analysis and all of those things, and that is a benefit to that particular developer, and I understand that. Representing the citizens of Smithfield, it seems like here's an opportunity for us to get ahead of something and perhaps set a better stage for traffic there in the future. So,
Mr. Mayor, may I suggest that I modify my motion for the consent agenda and that we pull C2 so we can have a healthy discussion. Mr. Harris has some concerns. I want to make sure that they're appropriately addressed, and that way we have a chance to vote yes or no on C2 by itself as opposed to with the consent agenda.
Sure you can. Absolutely. We'll pull C2 as well. So the amended motion will be to approve items C1, and C4.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
That's correct.
Who made the second? Mr. Gibbs? Is that satisfactory to you, sir?
Yes.
All right. Okay. We're now voting on items C1 and C4. Call the question, please, ma'am.
Councilman Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilman Harris?
yes.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Smith? Councilman Pack?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. All right, let's go to C2.
C2, I know we talked about not being in the real estate business.
No, this is
This is the roundabout, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, C2, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I thought it was.
That's okay.
That's 3, I'm
No,
sorry.
C2.
Go ahead.
Again, it just strikes me as being counterproductive to not keep in place an obligation offered by the developer originally to when the town can benefit, not just immediately, but in the future.
So, Mr. Harris, I brought that up at committee meetings, and since I've had a chance to reflect and learn a little bit more about how some of this works. One thing that is happening is that the developer is proffering enough land that if it were to go to a 2-lane roundabout, which, by the way, are horrible. There's one on College Drive in Suffolk, and they're a nightmare. But if it were to go to a 2-lane roundabout, the property's already been acquired. It's already there in existence for it. The second part of that is a traffic impact analysis would have to require that. And what a TIA does is it gives the ability for the community, because I think the way that we want to do this is make sure that we're not having to pay for it, the town and the taxpayers not having to pay for it. So when you get a TIA, so let's just suppose that some property up on the right-hand side where the clear cut has been done, and that property has been developed and approved, and it's going to bring enough cars to increase the traffic on there. Well, they would have a TIA, a traffic impact analysis, that would say, okay, but you're going to have a 2-lane roundabout now. At that point, the council can make it a requirement that the developer have the expense of making that a 2-lane roundabout. And in that situation, they wouldn't have to buy the land. They would simply have to pave and restripe and do the VDOT engineering. So you do have a tool to do that. What I had suggested during committee is that, hey, maybe perhaps we go ahead and pave it and stripe it as one. And that, in hindsight, sounds like a really good idea to me. but it's additional maintenance. It's road that doesn't get driven on. It's road that we have to scrape when it snows or treat or repave every so often. And it just kind of wears out and is unused. You also have to worry about the water runoff, the impervious surface, all the things that come along with paving that area. So, in my opinion, adjusting this proffer and the fact that it was requested by VDOT makes sense to me in this situation, because we do have room for expansion. And the only time we would expand is if a TIA was warranted, that improved. And at that point, it could be put on the new developer down the road to improve the road again to traffic. The thought that there's enough density or enough traffic on that road, I think there's a considerable ways out. I hope it's a considerable ways out. But even with the 800 homes coming at Mallory Scott, we don't have that kind of traffic impediment on it. If you look again at College Drive in Suffolk, where it intersects with Harborview, right down there by the end of College Drive, there are, gosh, probably 1,000 apartments going up there right now. There's the entire neighborhood back there, and that road is still empty, and that roundabout is still underutilized. So to think that we grow to that in the next 20 years, I hope we don't get there, but it's also pretty unlikely that we see that. So with the way this proffer was adjusted, and I'm okay with it, and that's my thought process on it because of the way that it works.
Further comments? Did you have any questions to follow up on that? I understand where you're coming from, and I was like, initially, why not go ahead and do the 4-lane one? But obviously, and Tammy gave us the number, the traffic flow on a 1-lane, on a single through there is what, you remember? It was a significant number of vehicles.
45,000.
Yeah. So, and having the potential to be able to expand it if we need, that's what kind of sold me, but, yeah. Any further questions? The chair will entertain a motion on item C2.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend approval of the amendment to proffers for Mallory Point with regards to the roundabout and the slip lane.
Motion made by Mr. Pack. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gibbs. Further discussion? Call the question, please, ma'am.
Councilman Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilman Harris?
No.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Smith? Councilman Pack?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. Thank you. Now we're to discussion on item C3. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
This dedication of this plat that he's talking about, I know we talked about not being in the real estate business and not wanting to acquire things that we didn't really need. And I guess my concern, and we did talk about this in committee, I guess it takes it off the tax rolls. Is that correct?
It does.
I don't know, it couldn't be much. I don't think it's unusable land, possibly, wetlands,
No, sir.
agricultural.
About 5 acres.
A portion of it is in agricultural use right now, and then a portion of it is
Right.
wetland.
Yeah, and I know we've had problems in the past with agricultural land close to the park over here at Windsor Castle, and the concern of spraying the crops and so forth, and they actually stopped. I know the farmer that was doing that, and he was concerned about litigation possibly because of that. So it ends up back in our hands to try to take care of that. And I guess what I'm concerned about is ongoing in the future. What are we going to have to do to that land if the farmer decides he doesn't need to be doing this anymore? Are we going to continue to spend money on maintaining it, cutting it, whatever we have to do, plus the loss of the tax revenue? I know it probably can't be much if it's agricultural, but at the same time, over a long period of time, it could make a difference. And what we have to do, it's wear and tear on our equipment to maintain it. Our individuals have to drive out there to check on it or whatever the case may be. So I guess I'm a little concerned about taking this on when we really don't need it. And that's my thoughts. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but.
Well, Mr. Smith, I'll share what my thought process is.
Sure.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
because being in the real estate business is not what the town is designed to do. It really isn't. But my thought was again, towards the future, and probably healthily towards the future, 10 years, give or take. When Mallory Scott is built out, and there is additional development in town, that this might be an opportunity for us to have a place for an auxiliary EMS building. And I don't know what our needs are exactly on that, but for fire and rescue, they're relatively close. The rescue squad is not particularly close to that in town. It gives us an opportunity. My thought was that if we were able to save this, because there's really 5 to 7 acres or so that's buildable, the rest is marshland, that we had an opportunity to put some type of governmental service building down there, not for us to develop or sell, but to have a auxiliary EMS type facility on that site. The developer offered it to us at no cost. In my mind, I was like, okay, well, here's something that we may need. Yeah, we may have to cut the grass on it. I think your point about the Roundup and spraying it is well received. And once Mallory Scott is built out, the amount of farmable land there shrinks significantly. So it is likely difficult to find a farmer to get down there that wants to pick up 5 to 7 acres, and where they probably just gave up 150 to do that. So, I mean, your points are well received, but the opportunity to have, maybe it's a pump station. I don't know what our future needs are on that end of the county, but that is the end of the county that is growing. And if we have an opportunity to acquire land at no cost, it seemed something worthy of discussion anyhow.
I will say, I did talk to the gentleman who's currently farming all that property, and he did say he was interested in continuing to do so. Clearly that's with what he's farming now, but 10 years from now when it's built out, we may have a different discussion, but he is interested in continuing the farming of the property.
And he pays rent and all that, is that correct? Or no?
That would be my assumption. We didn't go that far into it at this point in time, but he did say he was interested in working with the town to continue to maintain or operate that property. So that could be part of it. In the past, when I've done those agreements, it was either you maintain it and you farm it for free, or both, depending on the size of the parcel. The other parcels I've had to deal with were small enough that it didn't make a lot of financial incentive for somebody to pay a lease and maintain it, so we kind of did it as a wash, but he was interested in maintaining that arrangement.
I think the fact that the property is being given to us, I understand what Mike is saying, but I also agree with Randy. It would give us the opportunity in one of our strategic planning meetings to look ahead, to decide on what could potentially become of that piece of property. And if there's a concern of having the staff or wear and tear on our equipment, due to the size of it, if the farmer is interested, he could, I would think we would be amenable to him providing the upkeep of that property. And as Mallory Point is fully developed, I think it would be serious consideration at that time to decide on, the homeowners, if they would want that farming and pesticide, close to them. But I think it gives us the opportunity to look at what we could potentially place on that piece of property.
I guess my next question would be, a right-of-way to access this property. Do we have that?
It fronts on Battery Park Road.
Okay.
Further questions?
Yes, if I may.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
To follow up on the Vice Mayor, does a decision whether to accept this have to happen right now, or can it actually happen after a strategy meeting and we look at various options? Is there no other piece of property that's part of Mallory that has been set aside for future use for fire or emergency services? Nothing contained in there.
Yes.
Right. But again, is there a chance for us to have time to consider what different uses that land might hold for us before we come to that decision?
Mr. Harris, if you were to accept that property tonight and decide next month that you didn't want to do anything with it, you could sell it and keep the money as well. You're never required to hold the property forever.
I understand that, but 17 acres that a developer doesn't seem to want may not have a great value in the market. My immediate reaction, but again, no, just thanks for considering that question. I just didn't know.
The chair will entertain a motion.
I brought it up, Mr. Mayor, because I just wanted the public to understand where we were going with this tiny little piece of property. And when somebody gives you something, sometimes it's not the best thing that could happen. And it gives us, the public, an opportunity to see that we have talked about this and we've further discussed it tonight. I really don't have a problem with this, but I just wanted everybody to understand where it could go in the future if we make a wrong decision about it. So I think we're headed in the right direction with that. So I'd like to make a motion that we do accept.
Motion made by Councilman Smith to accept. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Can I clarify, though, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, you may.
It's listed as a dedication of a plat, and that's part of it. But the real function is the acceptance of the deed, because property doesn't transfer by plat, it transfers by deed. So if your motion is to approve the dedication of the plat, it should also include a motion to accept the deed. Yes, sir.
That's your motion?
Yes.
Motion made by Councilman Smith, seconded by Councilman Pack. Further discussion? The only thing I'll say is what I'm encouraged by is a strategic location, as Madam Vice Mayor had indicated, that if it doesn't work out, we can dispose of it, but at the same time, right down there, that end of town, at the very end of town, I think gives us some incentive to consider it, so I'll be in support of it. Call the question, please, ma'am.
Councilman Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilman Harris?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Smith? Councilman Pack?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. That takes care of the consent agenda items. Next item is the action section, approval of town council summary minutes from November 6, 2024.
Mr. Mayor
Riddick.
and members of council, I've read the minutes and I have made a mistake. I cited section 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia, and it was actually A8, and so I've made that correction. That was the certification after the closed session. So with that change, I would recommend that the minutes be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Riddick. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Pack to accept the minutes as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Gibbs? Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Second by Mr. Gibbs. Further discussion? Call the question, please, ma'am.
Councilman Pack?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilman Harris?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. The next item on the action section is the adoption of the meeting schedule for 2025. Coming right at us. Any questions, comments? Y'all had a chance to review it?
Mr. Mayor, I did not review this one.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you a bit.
Neither did I.
Well, you can vote on it or abstain, whatever you prefer. The chair will entertain a motion on the meeting schedule. There's no further conversation on
I'd
it.
like to make a motion to adopt the schedule for 2025.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Butler. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Smith. Further discussion? Call the question, please, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Gibbs? Councilman Harris?
Yes.
Councilman Pack?
Abstain.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. Yes. Under new business, Isle of Wight County Sidewalk Extension Project. Mr. Stallings.
Yes, sir. As you know, Isle of Wight County has been working on a sidewalk extension project to take sidewalks from where they end now near the laundromat on Main Street and take them out to the west side of elementary school as well as down Quail Street. As part, or down Great Springs Road to Quail Street. As part of that project, we had them include a bid alternate to make the sidewalks, at least on the Main Street portion, brick instead of concrete. For the first section, which is from where they end to Gray Street, that bid alternative was $22,400. So that would take those as they're installed, and they'll be brick pavers instead of regular concrete. As there are existing infrastructure projects at the intersection to do the widening and those other intersection improvements, the sidewalks in that area will just be stamped asphalt for now, so they don't have to be torn up later. And as the intersection project goes along, we'll have a bid alternate in there to make those bricks. So we'll deal with that piece later on as that project progresses. But as it's over the $20,000 threshold, it would require council approval. But this is a project that council has been looking for to continue the brick sidewalks down Main Street.
Questions, Mr. Stallings?
Just
Mr. Pack?
Mr. Stallings, just so we're clear on the history of this, we sold the property at the corner of James and Washington. One of the contingencies we had placed on the money for the proceeds was that we were going to use it to improve these sidewalk extension projects.
Yes, sir.
Was that $250,000?
$225,000.
$225,000. So this is roughly just shy of 10% of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Further questions?
Yes, sir, if I may.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Michael, without the bricks, the project is already paid for?
Yes, sir. Alawite County has secured funding for this, so this is an addition. If we elect not to do this, it'll be concrete sidewalks.
Are there any negatives to going with the brick?
No, sir. I mean, it's a little more maintenance for our folks, but it keeps up the aesthetics and continues that charm downtown. It's just a little bit more maintenance on our part.
How do the stamped bricks affect transportation of wheelchairs and other?
It'll all be ADA compliant.
It'll all be ADA compliant?
Yes, sir.
Further questions? I'm pleasantly surprised at that amount.
As was I.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Pack.
I move that we approve this bid alternate for the Alawite County Sidewalk Extension Project. Change?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
That'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
Motion made by Mr. Pack. Is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
Second by Councilman Smith. Further discussion? Call the question, please, ma'am.
Councilman Harris?
Yes.
Councilman Pack?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Gibbs?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. Next item on the agenda under old business. Or is any more new business to come before council? Not. Moving on to old business, Ben's Church Boulevard, Turner Drive Transportation Project. Mr. Stallings.
Yes, sir. At the last meeting of council, council directed the attorney and myself to negotiate with Alawite County on our funding portion of the project. We were given guidelines to operate within that we could commit or offer a commitment of our portion, which was the $902,000, and anything above and beyond that that is in their cost sharing proposal allocated to developments, we would then ask those developers to pay their identified shares based off of the master transportation study. The county has agreed to that. They voted to move forward with the project at their last meeting and will be initiating that paperwork with VDOT. But that was the guidelines we were given to go negotiate, and those terms were agreed upon by the county. So at this point in time, we just need for further discussion and whether council wants to vote to move forward that direction.
Thank you, Mr. Stallings. Mr. Riddick, did you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Matter is up for discussion by members of council.
Just want to be clear of what we're talking to. We were asked for an additional $1.5 million on top of that. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
What was our total ask?
The total was $2.3 million. There was an additional allocation for projects within the town limits, and we felt that it was appropriate for us to ask those projects to pay their fair share based off of the analysis that was done. However, council didn't feel comfortable, fronting those monies out of our coffers. And so that was the offer we made to the county, is that we would cover the portion that's for future growth in the town, that will help provide for and enhance transportation and flow at that intersection based off existing flow and whatever future growth happens throughout the corridor. But those project-specific costs should be allocated to those developments.
Okay. So we're agreeing to pay $902,000 cash from the town.
Yes, sir.
Correct? And then the additional proceeds to make up the difference may come from what is potentially to be developed along the lines.
Yes, sir.
But in the meantime, to achieve those monies, the county is going to front that money and act as a bank, per se.
Yes, sir.
If those projects ever come to fruition and are developed, and there is money to be recovered from those for the TIA, those monies from the developer for that 1 point whatever would be allocated to the county as opposed to the town. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does everybody understand what this deal looks like? I want to make sure that that does a couple of things for us. One of the things that I was concerned about is that by allocating that we were going to collect this money from future development, we have no development plans in front of us for that property. And what I was concerned with is that we would be, or our planning commission would be, under pressure to help recoup our $1.some million on those. This removes that pressure from the planning commission and from the town council to approve something that we may not wish to approve to get our money back that we had invested in this. It was almost an economic development. So what the county has said is that we'll take that 1-point-something million on, and if that property is developed or when that property is developed and there's an opportunity for us to recoup that money, the town agrees to allow the county to recoup that money instead of the town of Smithfield. I think that became a much better deal for us as a town.
Yeah, it certainly removes the uncertainty as buying a pig in a poke, as they used to say in the country folk way. But we've talked a number of times about getting out in front of transportation issues. I think this is a golden opportunity to do two things: get in front of a transportation issue that's going to be coming regardless, and also working with the county on something that's going to benefit all. Of course, the county is us. I don't ever forget that. The county dollars, Mr. Keaton, is also the town dollars as well. But to have the certainty of what we're dealing with now with this offer, I think it certainly makes me feel a lot better about it than any overages, any of this, any of that, and not knowing what's going on. And the time comes as far as transportation is concerned. We have to look out for the best interests of our citizens, both from a fiscal perspective, but also after we've heard about traffic, we've got to do what we can to alleviate whatever we can possibly do. So that's my 2 cents. Further comments on the matter?
I agree with you, Mayor. I think we owe it to the town citizens and their children that utilize that roadway, and it will greatly impact traffic all around that area. But I also hope that the county can see that we're willing to work and think this thing through, and hopefully that's a meaningful relationship.
Further comments, questions?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
When this was first brought up and the committee was appointed, the two of you were tasked with finding out. There was also a consideration that you might have struck a deal to offer a flat amount, right, to show good faith. Now we're being asked to approve the entire amount. In the cost share situation, what percentage of the total amount is going to be on the back of the Smithfield citizen as compared to the total amount on the county?
The total project is $7.6 million, and I'm gonna look towards the county folks here to help
Mr.
me
Keaton.
if I say something wrong. 7.6 million, and so we'll be in it for 900,000. They have secured grant money that will help offset the cost, as well as just over $1 million that they have in the project as well. So if there's anything else.
Yes, sir, please.
Feel free.
State your name, please, for the record.
Randy Keaton, County Administrator,
Thank you,
also
sir.
at 101 Lumar Road, Smithfield. Yes, the total project is the 7.6 million. We have grant funds of 2.2 million from the revenue sharing grant, and we also had a prior smart scale grant that we'd already acquired to do part of the intersection, just one of the turn lanes, in the amount of $972,000. So we have total state VDOT funds of almost 3.2 million. We're putting in $1,011,000 compared to the town's 902,000. And then as stated before, the remaining almost $6 million that is slated to be received from the private developers will be borne by the county. We know we'll receive some of that back immediately as soon as some of the projects on the county side are approved, but then the ones on the potential on the town side would be at the county's risk of receiving that. Much like we've done with Ben's Grant intersection, exact same thing. We fronted the money, we've received money back from developers. Riverside Hospital will be paying a portion of that once they get their certificate of occupancy. So, and that was 8 years ago when that project was finished.
Further questions, sir?
Just clarification. So outside of all the other monies that are coming towards the project, the county will be assessing 1.11.
No, $1,011,000. 1 million.
1 million. And the town is being asked to do 900 plus.
902,000.
Right.
And then the remaining 2.5 million will be the county's responsibility to pay it up front. And then when projects, go forward at this intersection, whether on the county side or the town side, it would be the county's responsibility to pay the upfront costs and then be reimbursed when those developments come to fruition.
No, I understand the funding. It just seems, first off, I agree with the mayor. We certainly need to take opportunity to get ahead of things traffic-wise. It's the same issue that I raised about the double lane roundabout earlier. But it seems that in terms of immediate and down the road benefit to this project, the majority of benefit will be reaped by the county, right? Not by the town. I'm talking Turner, once Turner Drive gets past the high school, all of that is county. So whatever developments and real estate and all of those benefits financially would go to the county and not us. I spoke about this where you were standing when this first came up, just from a citizen standpoint. And I just want to make sure that I'm on public record saying that it does not seem a fair cost share for cost and benefit, as our colleague pointed out during that original discussion, Mr. Collins. Anyway, appreciate you answering the question, and I remain concerned that the cost share split does not seem real fair for the citizens of the town.
If I may ask a question, what formula do you think would be appropriate to utilize to be a fair cost share split? Would you use the number of vehicles that are registered in Smithfield going through the intersection, or ones utilize? What would be, in your mind, in all due respect, what would be a fair cost share analysis formula?
That's a great question, and I do not have a specific answer for you because I don't believe that the entire cost share thing wasn't made clear with specifics that you're asking about. The immediate benefit of this roundabout will serve the county. It'll serve all of us that travel through there, certainly. But as we develop further down Turner.
Understood that, yes.
That's
sir.
all county.
Yes, sir.
And the benefit will certainly benefit the county more than it will the town as we look into the immediate future.
I guess the question would be, what is the term immediate benefit. I mean, if we've got significant traffic issues coming out of Smithfield and it has to run through there some type of way or whatever, isn't that immediate benefit to an extent?
If I may, it's worth noting that the roundabout is only a portion of this project. It also includes significant enhancements to the intersection.
Yes.
And I think it's less than $1 million of it, somewhere in that ballpark, is the roundabout. So the intersection improvements are the vast majority of the cost of the project. That roundabout piece is a very small piece of the overall project.
And I appreciate that.
That is an excellent point, too.
It's a great point, and it's something that I asked for clarification several months ago. That's the first time I have heard that. This number that we're talking about right now does not, the total amount does not deal directly with the roundabout. It also
That's right.
It's the entire
carries, of
project.
course, the whole
It's a
project.
Michael, thanks for that I'm sorry, Randy. Thanks for the clarification, because that does mean to you, both of our points means a lot.
Yeah.
Yes,
Randy?
it includes 2 turn lanes. Right now, there's 1 turn lane to go into from Route 10 to go into Turner Drive. This would be lengthening that existing turn lane and adding a second turn lane. And then, of course, you have the 2 receiving lanes on Turner Drive. There's also extensive utility relocation there because that's where our meter vault is between the county and the town. So that would have to be relocated down closer to Tractor Supply, because in the future, the county would serve any development that's on the west side of Turner Drive. Of course, the majority of the available land for development is on the town side of Turner Drive. We have a portion on the
No,
front.
that clarification helped quite a bit. I thought when we originally asked about the cost of roundabout, I guess the people who were hearing the question were assuming that we were talking about the whole project.
Yeah, and part of that's my fault, because I've got the whole portfolio right here, and I should have picked up on it, so that was on me.
Thank you for that.
Further questions, comments?
The only
Mr.
thing
Mr. Smith, yes, sir.
Randy, we had talked about this being like a 3-year project, isn't that correct?
Yes, well.
When the check comes due, about?
It'll probably be at least 3 years. Right now, we're planning to ask VDOT to accelerate the PE version or process of this to next spring or next summer, and then so in the summer of '25, and then we would start that would probably take 18 months. So yeah, you're right. It's probably going to be at least 3 years.
Thank you.
Laura, put that money away somewhere and make some money on it. Been doing pretty good at it, that's for sure. Further comments? The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Pack.
I move that we move forward with the $902,000 contribution to the Bennett Church Boulevard Turner Drive Transportation Project in conjunction with the county.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Councilman Gibbs. Further discussion? Call the question, please, ma'am.
Councilman Gibbs?
Yes.
Councilman Smith? Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Brooks?
Yes.
Councilman Harris?
Yes.
Councilman Pack?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes, ma'am. That's all I have under old business. Any other old business to come before council?
Mayor, if I may just
Yes,
briefly.
As long as it's not a surprise.
We talked previously about the Mistletoe Market, Christmas Parade, and traffic. So I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about some of the things we're going to do to help mitigate traffic during the Christmas Parade. At the end of the Christmas Parade, so starting at 11:30, we will be reversing the direction of the bridge. It will be that way for an hour and a half. Couldn't do that with the market because it was a 5-hour market. Not everybody's. We have a definitive endpoint for the parade. This will help us flush traffic out. So starting at 11:30, the bridge will be reversed for 1.5 hours. And then it'll go back to the way it was.
What is the date of that?
It's the 14th.
Thank you.
14th.
We're going to make sure that we have the appropriate press release to outline everything that you...
Yes, sir. We had a joint meeting today where we were all discussing this, so we were waiting till after that meeting to make that. We also have state police will be in. They will be assigned to managing the Route 10 and 258 intersection. So whatever they feel like they need to be doing there, they will handle that. That'll free up our assets to be elsewhere along the route and to be able to do the switch on the bridge. So tourism has also limited the size of the parade. So in the past, we've had upwards of 80 participants. It was capped at 50 this year. So that'll help us prevent the head of the parade meeting the tail and causing some issues as well. So we think we've done a lot to help mitigate the issues surrounding the parade. The judging stand has been moved to the old fire station, so it'll be actually on Grace Street instead of on Main, and hopefully this will help keep the parade more consistent so they're having significant gaps in it. So I don't know if there's any other changes that we've made that you need to mention, Judy, but please.
Probably just that the disbandment point will be at the Old Littles Market.
Yes.
So where the parade is kicking off from is where it will be ending.
Right. So we wanted to...
Shouldn't get lost.
To, again, publicly state that so everybody hears it. And again, we'll be doing our media blitz after this meeting, so we'll start that tomorrow. But we look forward to a good parade and hopefully everybody comes out and enjoys.
I got a question. Where is the parade making a left off of Main Street to go on to Gray Street? North Mason. Oh, okay.
Other questions? Thank you, Michael.
Yes.
Anyone else have anything for the good of the good of the Commonwealth, good of the town? Boy. Well, I'm not going to belabor, but I would like to take this opportunity to thank both Councilman Pack for the many years of service, especially his keen wisdom as it dealt with financial matters. We're going to miss that. So, Laura, make sure you stay sharp, and Michael, whatever. But I'll tell you did a great job with that, Randy, for sure. And we're really going to miss it. We really appreciate your service.
Thank you,
Planning
sir.
Commission and the hours that you put in. And Ray, again, I echo what was said earlier about you taking up the challenge and serving on council. You have served well as a council member. And as a town and as the mayor, I certainly do appreciate all you've done for the town, and I know you will continue to do for the town. Really, really treasured meeting you. Contrary to what you read in the paper sometimes, I never knew you, never spoke to you, never knew you if you'd walked through the door before you came here, but you've certainly made an impression on me and the folks that you served with. So I thank both of you, and I hope you both will honor us with your presence so we can provide you with a little certain something for your service to the town in the coming future. So just wanted to do that. Thank you. Anything else to come before? If not, meeting is adjourned.